So, heads up, this is going to be a bit of a talking head video with gameplay spliced in here and there, whatever. I want to talk about the global sync coming to Dokkan and why I think that this whole thing of it's okay for them to have missteps now because we know the sync is coming is kind of bullshit. To those of you who don't know me, which is basically all of you, my primary genre since I can remember has been fighting games. I'm going to spare you some details and just say Dragon Ball FighterZ was a huge release for me. It combined the two things I naturally loved. However, the reason I go on tirades about rollback for Sparking Zero is because these companies handling this IP are so bad at it. Dragon Ball makes money for itself. Global Dokkan Battle's Twitter account is a canvas of errors, leaks, disappointment. As of writing and recording this video, we're still waiting for a producer's letter that's yet to come. Here we are, less than probably like 3 months from the game's schedules being synced, and we genuinely have no idea what's going on about something that was announced 10 months ago. Here we've got Rick, who I believe is a notable leaker in the community. I only say I believe because I don't know what their title is, what they'd want to be called, but let's just say they're part of that crew that tends to spread data mining, information, speculation, etc. The situation is so strange to me because I think they're actually doing a good job catching up events, World Tournament, SBR, ESBR, Patan, etc. Other than Battlefield, in my opinion, but for summonable units it seems like they didn't have a plan and don't know what they're doing. This is cool, you know. I agree with no fuss to this. Dokkan's done a good job of spreading out its free-to-play content drops at an accelerated pace to get us caught up. We're basically aligned in however many weeks sans 1 or 2 drops in any given direction. Things that could just be dumped in a week. That said, we're still missing these characters, and it's getting worse with the recent announcement of AJL First Form Frieza arriving on Global instead of an accelerated 10 about a banner. This was the perfect time to just slide in a freebie for Global. It maintains hype, we go straight into the anniversary, then worldwide download celebration, we're synced. And I know some people are complaining that, well, then we couldn't save stones as much, and I don't know if people need to hear this. It's a gacha game. And for whatever reason, there's like this like evergreen sensation when it comes to Dokkan where people think that like because it's a gacha game, everyone should have to wait on you. I mean this in the nicest way possible. I am not a whale. I am a free-to-play or low-spending player, depending on what you want to put me at. Like $10 a month, basically. I don't really care if they release good characters and I miss that banner. Unless you are a whale, them waiting for you to save doesn't really do anything but deprive us of content that could be releasing. Things like stages and, you know, shit to do when we open this stupid app. Waiting 6 months between these banners, saying that like, oh, I don't want to have 10 Abata and then 9th and then worldwide download celebration. Skip 1 and pull on the 10th. You'll be fine. You know, these characters return. These schedules are gonna sync. If you can't do that, I don't really think you have like the faculties to consider what you're asking when you say that they need to hold off on these banners. Because they're coming. They're coming at greater value to you when you get to save later down the road. If you're this, you know, stalwart martyr of a free-to-play player, you should be only pulling on like anniversary and worldwide download anyway. Why hope that this gets delayed? It's only making the game more boring. And there we can move on to this post from Big Man Truth. At his pace, Global should be missing these major units when the sync happens: Banner Unit, SSJ2 Trunks, and Part 2 Yellow Coin LR, 10 about a Dokkan Fest LR, and a Banner Unit, 10 about a Carnival LR rather, end of July Dokkan Fest and Banner Unit. And this is in response to someone asking how we're going to make this a reality. Of course, there would be other random free-to-play units and such, but those could easily slide in anywhere. This is assuming LR game would be June Part 2, which seems likely, and Total will be the start of August for Global. Just a nightmare, man. We got Annie weighing in. How Global has handled the sync is nothing short of embarrassing. This will go down in history as one of the worst things Dokkan has done. The complete mismanagement of it all is baffling. Dozens of opportunities to do a painless sync, and they're taking the longest, worst route. What can you even contend with here? The reason I brought up Dragon Ball FighterZ earlier is because it stands as one of the worst handlings of a fighting game IP in recent memory. It's not to say that the game is dead or didn't have a run. It had one of the greater eras in recent fighting game history, but it crashed and burned on the back of mishandling a really important announcement. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people waited anxiously for rollback netcode to hit the game, to be able to reliably play it. They sat and watched other games in its space, newer and older, enjoy this implementation. Instead of announcing something that people desperately wanted when appropriate, they jumped the gun and only released it after almost 2 full years. This nosedived expectations, hype and interest for the game both casually and competitively. It killed the intrigue once it finally launched. Imagine instead if it was something they announced at EVO only a few months ahead of its release. The buzz would have revived the game's online scene on the strength of its IP and inclusion. I feel like it's not unrealistic for the Dokkan thing to be delayed at this point, but what they're doing right now, barely any progress has actually been made outside of version updates. No, it's just that the obvious but unfortunately incorrect assumption is that all characters would be on global before the sync, and that will not be the case. I've been telling people for months. Yeah, to be honest, I understand and accept that, but it's just an unorganized mess. My guess is at the moment is the Christmas banner could be where the extra characters come in. I don't really think I was ever under the pretense that it would be delayed, but man, I mean, how can you delay something that barely feels like it started? Anyone? No? Boo, boo, boo this guy. Yeah, me? Alright, my bad. And lastly, we have Toon dropping the I wish Omatsu never told us the sync was coming, shaking my head. And I slid in with how motherfuckers react when you tell them that maybe announcing a poorly planned sync 13 months early with no discernible roadmap isn't actually good for excitement. I'm a big fan of the global sync just conceptually. I think it's great. I think we should all be on the same schedule. The moment I started playing this game, the first thing I realized after like a week of just playing to myself, not really playing on servers, not watching YouTube, not, being on Twitter, was just, oh, these games aren't synced up. It was so startling because I thought we had gotten past this point with like Fate Grand Order, but I guess to be fair, Dokkan is 10 years old and that's probably somewhere around the lifespan of Fate. There's no reason for it to be. The sync has felt so bad. I don't know how it was for people who played Treasure Cruise. Maybe you can inform me in the comments or something. This isn't even fishing, like I don't know. If you play Treasure Cruise, tell me. But this has been really bad. This has been really bad, and while I was a big fan of the sync initially, I still am, but I'm not even excited at all. Like, I just want the stages to come out at this point. I could care less if the characters do. Damn. Peace.